Hello gals and geezers, welcome back to my little art channel. So today I bring you a traditional piece. Yay! Enjoy! So I'm just going to talk to you a bit about all the equipment I use for this piece. I use the Arteza cold press watercolour paper 300 GSM. I used my Jackson watercolour brushes and my Arteza Fine watercolour brushes. I used my Fable-castle polychromes colour pencils. For the line art, I used my Delta manga pen nib set. It comes with 3 different types of nibs. And for the ink colour itself, I used indigo ink, which is my favourite colour. This one is from the, now sorry for pronunciations, it's Heikala. Their shadow blue set. And finally I used my mini Arteza watercolour palette. It's very dirty, I'm sorry. So this was my first time using the Arches paper and the Arteza watercolour palette, and wow, what a difference it makes. I've been using just beginners art supplies for the past year now, and just cheap Japanese watercolour palettes and papers from Amazon. And then I've been buying more pricey bits as time went on, like my primer marketing watercolour palettes and a range of inks. I think what I've learned is that it's all about your paper. When you figure out what you like, paper is the goal. And personally, I prefer more of a textured look. And so I go with cold press watercolour paper rather than hot. This is at 300 GSM, like I said before. So it's nice and thick. And it's nice and absorbent. So I tend to use a lot of water, which I'm teaching myself to chill out on. So it doesn't buckle as much, but this paper really holds up well. I mean, this paper, I can't go on enough. Chef's kiss. Mwah. Unlike my other papers I've used in the past, it doesn't lift up the watercolour. But with this one, it lifts up just fine. So when you make mistakes, which I do often, it can be easily fixed. Yay! I highly recommend. I'm not going to lie, it's expensive, but it's very worth it. But I would say if you're new to watercolour, I would urge you to go and buy cheap first. Just learn the medium for a bit, and then if you want to step up, definitely go with this paper. You'll love it. I'm also very impressed with the Arteza mini watercolour palette. Very pigmented and very easy to use. Okay, so I'm just going to catch up quickly because I've been talking about all the equipment. So I just start off with a really light skin colour. It's always, when you want to do watercolour, you always want to start off very light and work out the highlights well before you start going in with the shadows. So that's why I'm leaving white patches out for them little highlights on her shoulder, on her nose, underneath her eye and on her forehead. Also, I just want to apologise for me keep on sneaking in the bottom right corner. This is very embarrassing for me. I did not know that I was being filmed. I thought it was just my hands that were being filmed, and obviously I will eventually work out the perfect filming spot so then you don't get to see me in it. So just apologies for having to look at my mug. And apologies for my nails not being very painted very nice. And if you think it's a bogey hanging out of my nose, it's definitely not a bogey, it's a septum piercing, okay? Okay, let's get started with the painting then, shall we? So, things I've learnt painting for my first probably about 1.5 years of watercolour is that you want to work with the watercolour. You don't want to work against it, because then it'll just look like a big hot mess. Or, that's a polite term of it, a big hot pile of shit. That's how more it will look like. So yeah, when you're working with watercolour, you want to make sure that you're working with the watercolour. I know it sounds really like wash on wash off, like Karate Kid style, but no, really you do. You just gotta go with it. And if the watercolour wants to go that way, you can't fight it. It's water, so you just gotta like blend it and work it out the best way you can. And I actually really enjoyed this around this time, because I wasn't like fighting against this has to look like this has to look like that. No, I actually worked out a way where it's better to lay on my layers, like looking through glass, different types of glass, and then learn to love the layers and textures that you put in the piece. So So I just want to make it clear that I'm not a professional in any circumstances. I am very much self-taught artist over here, and I'm teaching myself every day of how to draw with watercolour, but I can definitely tell you my experiences and what it's like to be a beginner and what it's like to learn more. So as you can see, I'm just adding more depth and darkness to each of the layers, and adding some more like different colours as well that are going in, blending in, trying not to keep the skin colour one sort of shade, going in with some more yellows, browns and reds. Originally I wanted the character to have a bit more of a darker skin tone. It is actually one of my regrets in this piece. I wish I went a lot more darker, but I got far too nervous, and I was thinking, well, it's not a digital painting, I can't just go back if it messes up, so try and keep it light as possible. So this character, I wanted her to be mixed race, and I think the finished piece is pretty good, but I do regret not going dark enough. I just wish I went just a tiny bit darker, but I'm happy with all the highlights and stuff. So the light source is coming from the top right, so obviously all the lighter colours are on her left and on her right side, and then obviously all the darker shadows are going on her right. Did I say that? On her right side to her left. On her right side to her left. As you can see, I'm putting a lot more darker shadows in now. I really enjoy this bit, like working out where all the harsh shadows are gonna go. In this piece, all the dark shadows are underneath her neck, her nose, her armpit, her collarbone, inside her ear, on the sides of her face, the temples, and underneath her headband. Okay, so I'm just gonna let the music play a bit more now. I'm gonna talk a bit more less, yay, and yeah, just enjoy watching this process. I'm gonna chime in every now and then just to talk about what I'm doing, but yeah, less talking from me. Enjoy. So when I first start a new colour palette, I always tell myself just to restrict myself to only a few colours to pick from. So I picked, in this piece, blue, pink and a little bit of yellow. Here I am darkening the eyes. I thought I'd go in with a darker blue and a little bit of a dark blue grey for the white of her eyes. here I am starting with the hair. Obviously starting off at the lightest colour in case I wanted to do highlights. I don't know why, but I kept leaving out white bits in the hair. I really like doing it at the top where her hair was curliest the most, but I don't know why I left it white here. And after a while I think I painted over it because I really hated it. But I just always, with watercolour, it's always good to be overly cautious and leave things white just in case. Watercolour is all about laying colours on top of each other until you're happy with the finished product. With this, I just kept laying on more and more colours until I was happy, until it was dark enough. Again, you have to start light to then finish dark. I really do like the effect of her space buns. I was really happy with it actually. My little girl come along and she said, "Wow, her hair looks like popcorn," and I was like, "Oh my god, it really does," and I quite like that. I was still unhappy with the effect of it all. I mean, I really wanted her hair dark. But I didn't want to go too dark. Again, I was scared. I was scared to go too dark, just in case I couldn't lift it out. But I really wanted like near enough black brown hair. And this is more chestnutty. So I'm putting more darker shadows into her jacket. I was thinking, you know, more of a bomber jacket I was gonna give her, which I know bomber jackets on the inside they're like orange yellow and obviously like a navy blue on the outside, but I just thought keep it simple, just go all blue, and I was happy with it in the end. I'm adding gold yellows to her earrings and her little nose stud. Adding more pinks to her lips. Just again pushing those shadows. Oh, I'm using the pencils. First time using these pencils as well. So I'm trying to give her hairband the tartan effect, or just some sort of pattern texture. I really like tartan. It's like one of my favourite things ever. I like using pencils. Just it gives it more of a defined look, but the pencils weren't doing as a dark enough job that I wanted to, so then I went in with the watercolour again and just added the dark lines to her headband piece. Oh, okay, so I'll just clip in what I'm using now. I'm using the Dr. P.H. Martin's white ink, and this is like, it was just a bit too thick for the job. I mean, it looked okay for the little highlights, and there you can see me using the dip pen, but I really should have put it into my palette, my ceramic palette, watered it down and then used it, because it would have been so much easier. I don't know why I was doing that. I even went in with a brush, and then the brush just ended up being too thick, which is also really disappointing, because when I painted the pink bubblegum, my camera decided to turn off, and I really liked doing that bit, and I was really pissed off that I couldn't show you me doing that bit of the little pink bubblegum. So yeah, fuck you, camera. The ink's good, like I wouldn't like say it's not good, but nothing beats a white gel pen, am I right? So I'm just doing obviously all the finishing touches right now. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I think in the near future I will definitely do some more tips and tricks to help you out as a beginner. I'm still a beginner in a way, I think. I still think of myself as a beginner. But I'm really enjoying the process, and you know, if you guys have got any questions or anything, I will gladly answer them. I think it's all about knowing about your water to paint ratio. I know it sounds really silly, but you know, the more you play around with it, the more you'll know. It's like little things like, you know, if you go in too hard with the paint and not enough water, you can't lift it up. It's going to be stuck there. If you do your wet on wet technique, you can lift up your paint no problem. But if you do like a wet dry technique, or dry to wet, or whatever it is, you're going to have a hard time picking it up again. God. So here I am doing a close-up. Jesus. So I'm just going over with the pencil with the black line art, and then in a minute you'll see me go over in with the blue, so the blue shadow. And as you can see, it just makes it pop just a little bit. And then I'm just going on with a tiny little bit of blue on her lips. And then I'm just doing a little bit of hatching, you know, just adding a little bit of texture and a little bit of depth into the hair. So we're just getting to the end of the video now. All the lovely finishing touches, the best bit. You go on forever and ever and ever, and then you'll never stop, and then you'll ruin it. I'm glad I stopped. This is the finished product. What do you think? I'm really happy with it. This is my Instagram post for today, just getting all of it ready. Yeah, I'm well happy with it. Like, it turned out quite well. You get to see all the up close textures now, which is good to show off this paper. This paper's Parker. Just wish I went just a tiny bit more darker, but never mind. Never mind. Anyway, I wish you guys have a lovely weekend, and I'm gonna go wash my hair now. Okay, bye. Bye.